by Hopkins, the Hopkins deal, that was a gift. That wasn't us having to go out and just make a big splash. That was given to us. Go out and grab a guy like a J.J. Watt and just say, hey, we finna go see what this guy can bring, and let's do this. Let's go for the championship. Let's go for the division this year. What we did right now proves to me that we're not trying to win this division. We're not trying to win this championship. We're just trying to get better for the next time we can go after it and do it. Those are the moves we made or didn't make today made me feel like we just didn't really go after it. So,
and then you saw the Rams lose on Sunday, and then you saw what happened to the 49ers with Garoppolo and George Kittle and Tevin Coleman, all their injuries. And the Cardinals didn't say, oh, okay, the 49ers are hurting right now. The Rams lost the game. Seattle made a move. Why can't we make a move just to keep pace with Seattle?
Because it's going to be a 2-team race now, it looks like.
Yeah.
Because I looked at the Rams schedule. The Rams schedule coming up. Oof.
Rams got a rough schedule. Oof.
And when the Niners going down the tank, it's going to be a 2-team race. And if it's going to be a 2-team race, you have to make steps in the race to stay in the race. And they didn't do anything. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Wanting to, like you said, Earl, you need to make those moves and take a risk. You have to take that gamble. If you're wanting to be that contender and have a shot at winning,
Absolutely.
have it be this season or next season, you need to take those risks, whether it's at the trade deadline, whether that's at a draft pick or off season and trying to acquire a free agent, whatever it is.
Right.
And the Cardinals are known for not taking those great risks, and I think
exactly.
For that reason, they could be a phenomenal and a great team and going to the postseason every single season, or going to the playoffs, I should say, or even making it to the Super Bowl and being a contender, being way up there. But because they're not taking those risks, that's what is hurting the Arizona Cardinals.
I agree with that 100%. That's all on Steve Keim. And you really can't, I can't say I can blame him, but you really can't look at him and go, Steve Keim, you're not doing. But if that was your job at stake, you'd be trying to be careful with it as well. And I can see he's trying to be careful because he can be on that hot seat after the next the next move that's not good for this team. But at the same time, you got to look at what you've done and then go into, hey, that didn't work before, so now I have to change it up and do something different. And doing something different, like you said, taking a risk to make this team better is where you got to go now, because now teams are not caring it. Look at all these playoff teams that are heading into the playoffs that are going to be in the playoffs. I guarantee you that every one of those teams that you can look at that are the top 4 or 5 teams made some move that's going to make them the better team in that wherever they're going. I guarantee it. You can look at it and go, man, the Chiefs, who'd they get? Oh, they got Lev Bell. Oh, wow, yeah, they sure did. I mean, you can look at every team that's high up there on the thing. They made a move. Even if that move may not be, it's risky in it, but you don't know what you're going to get. But hey, the Ravens, we got Dez Bryant. Like, damn, they brought Dez Bryant. And you know who Dez Bryant is? They make a move. And as you're sitting on there, the guys on the bottom feed those guys are being too careful. I think we're just too careful. We don't want to make a mistake, and we're too careful. And you got to make some risks. I'm sorry, the draft is a crapshoot to begin with, and we've already come up on the bad end of that anyway. So why not crap it out and start bringing some superstars in here? Because I'm telling you, Kyler Murray's going to start asking for that type of stuff. Getting him DeAndre Hopkins was good, but he's going to be like, look, I want to be a champion, doggone it. We got to start getting people in here to make him a champion, because that's a championship quarterback. I guarantee you that is a guy that can lead this team to a Super Bowl. If you do not put the pieces around him, you will not be here. That's just how it's got to go.
They will run a risk of losing Murray if they don't play those pieces properly. They don't move those chess pieces to make Kyler Murray better.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to go back to being from your last quarterback, 2 quarterbacks ago.
Right.
How long did it take us to get Kurt Warner and be in that pivotal moment and going to the Super Bowl? What did it take? How much longer is it going to take the Cardinals to get there, if they get there? You can't keep playing it safe. It's okay to play it safe, but too safe, you need to also make it out of your comfort zone.
I agree with that. You got to make some chances, take some chances, and the draft coming up next year is going to be the next starting point to taking chances. I mean, do you go ahead and package up your first round pick and somebody else to pull a superstar and get another superstar. I just think this team is only one defensive superstar and maybe, I don't want to say another offensive superstar. We got enough on offense. Maybe from the offensive line standpoint, superstar away from being a consistent contender every year. Because that quarterback's going to give you a chance every time. You just got to put the pieces around him that's going to go, okay, we can keep our offense. A Quentin Williams move would have been perfect for Kyler Murray future-wise. Because now you got this offensive line that's like, okay, this guy's going to grow with me for at least 5 to 6 years or more. And you will be a formidable team going forward. I just don't think we make those type of moves. We just never have, never will, until this kid starts saying, look, I got us this far, and he's going to get him to the playoffs this year. Now he's going to start wanting more. Hey, we got to get to a championship. Start making moves to get me to a championship. I think that's going to be coming. I really do.
Earl, do you think Steve Keim and Michael Bidwell are butting heads? Do you think Steve Keim goes to Michael Bidwell he proposes some stuff to him and Bidwell shoots him down?
I'm glad you asked that, because after the fact, we found out later that BA and then we're having those same problems. And everybody didn't see that at all. But Drew LaCava just confirmed to me they were having issues. That's what you just got through talking about. And I don't know if they're there now. They've been together for a while now. And they'd have two different philosophies, but somehow it comes together and stays with one. But I would imagine, any good business that's rising and being a good business, you're going to bump heads with somebody. And I would imagine they are bumping heads. I would imagine that Michael Bidwell is saying, hey, look, man, that guy's out there. Can we go get him? And Steve is like, hold on a second. You got to make sure that the T's crossed and the I's dotted and the blah, blah, blah. That technical dude. And the owner just want to win. So, yeah, you could be right. They could be bumping heads. But then it all settles down. Okay, Steve, you're the guy. You've been making the moves up to this point, so we'll just go ahead with your way. If that's me, the owner, no. We got to start taking some risks to get me a pass rusher. That's all I'm going to tell you. And it would have been done. But, yeah, I would imagine that's happening at some point. They're not going to be buddies through this whole thing as this thing starts to progress. No way. Yeah, you got to make those moves to get to the next level. Oh, you're going to butt some heads. Yeah, that's a good question, and keep that in mind as we go forward, because I'm telling you, draft time, they're gonna be knocking heads in that war room big time.
That's why they call it a war room, right?
Exactly.
All right, we've talked a lot about the trades and what's happened in up to 2 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Mountain Time for Arizona,
yes.
Pacific Time. So. I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next segment, covering just a little bit of general football. I want to touch in and lead off with how the virus has impacted football. We touched a little bit on this, Earl, on Friday when we came on your show. And now we have come to learn, you mentioned it earlier, the Arizona Cardinals have 2 players that are down.
Right.
We have learned earlier that the Ravens have 7 players. So this just keeps progressing as it goes on.
Wow.
We have Andy Dalton that just went down on the reserve with the devil, with coronavirus, and it just keeps getting worse for the Cowboys on another spectrum there. How much more are we going to see? For football, and how my big question is going into the playoffs, how much more is this going to impact the team? And are there going to be games that may be postponed or even canceled that maybe not be able to go ahead and make up and make an impact on the standings?
My personal opinion, I'm going to tell you this. I did an interview with former Cardinal Jeremy Bridges, and every time I ask him that question, his answer is always the same. And I'm starting to lean toward his answer. And his answer toward that is the NFL does not care. They are going to make that dollar bill no matter what. And when you look at this whole scope of all these players coming down, do you get the feeling that it's almost like okay, if you get it, you get it. You just got to move on. It feels like that to me. It feels like if this had been earlier, like baseball, we've been ready to shut this thing down. We'd be like, okay, hold up. We got to stop this thing. It's getting out of control. But right now, all these teams are just bouncing guys, put them on COVID lists and continuing on. You don't see no more games getting canceled like it did earlier. You don't see that anymore because now it feels like, hey, either you're going to get it or you're not. When you do get it, you'll be fine. It just feels like everybody's thinking they're going to be fine through this thing. So what can they do to go forward to help this thing better? Of course, we know a bubble's going to help. That's going to help, but that's far off. That's future wise. That's playoff time wise. But as of right now, I just get the sense that nobody's taking this thing as serious as they took it when it first started. And right now, the NFL doesn't really care. They're going to make that dollar bill no matter what. As a matter of fact, we got the coronavirus peaking here in Arizona and peaking all over the country, but yet we're still putting fans in the stands. That's an indicator to me that they don't care. It's all about that revenue. It's all about we're missing too much money already this whole season. Look at all the revenue we've lost up to this point. We can't put a fan in a stand. We can't get concessions. We can't get all the sporting wear and all these things that come along with NFL team getting revenue. Has been gone all season long. And now they're like, we're not taking it anymore. We just want to fill these. Let's get some fans in the stands and try to get some of this money back. And it just feels like the NFL just doesn't care about. I'm not going to say they don't care about the players or anybody. It just feels like overall coronavirus is not as big as it used to look to them right now. It just feels like we can get around it, put them on COVID lists. They'll be back in 2 weeks. Keep rolling. And it's that money train. And I'm going to stick with that because that's what I see with my own two eyes. It's crazy.
I see it too, but to what point is it going to take for the NFL to take some type of action for players to come into consideration and protect those players? To what extent is it going to have to go?
Unfortunately, Joe, it's going to take a bad situation where one of these players gets so sick to where they're near death. That's all it's going to take. That's what it's going to take because when you look at this thing and you got a healthy athlete and you got guys tweeting out, I got it, but I feel normal. I'm fine. And that's where the NFL's going, well, hey, all these guys are normal. They ain't really going through anything. Nobody's been hospitalized, nothing. I mean, we got some coaches in the college ranks that come down with it all of a sudden, and 2 days later, they don't have it. You know, Nick Saban, how the hell did that happen? I don't know. But my whole point is they can go around things when they want to go around it. And as long as nobody is hospitalized and nobody's near death in a deathbed, NFL's going to stick to that road and go where they're going right now. It's sad, and that's the truth, but it's the truth. That's it. And I hate to say it, but that's the truth. That's it. Nothing's going to change unless somebody gets very, very sick. It just happens to be somebody that has an underlying issue, and bam, now that guy's near death in the hospital. No, we got to shut this thing down. And that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, unfortunately. Or an entire team just gets ravaged, completely decimated as to where they can't. It's going to be hard for them to field players. I mean, even if they pull guys off the practice squad or sign free agents, they're still that decimated as far as COVID is concerned. Right. That they can't field a team. And now they actually, Earl, they have to start rescheduling games. And they don't want to do that. They're trying to get all these games in and try to get to that Super Bowl, get those 20% of people in Tampa at the Super Bowl and get the season over with. I mean,
if they were sticking the way they were doing things earlier, they shut some games down. Remember, they tried to reschedule a few games and all. If they were doing that, if they were still sticking to that, then it would have been like, what, 5 or 6 more games would have been rescheduled? Right now, because we got teams that have got guys, like you said, 7 on this team, 3 on this team. We would be postponing games. We should be postponing games right now. Because how are you going to track this thing to stop it? How are you going to track it? There's no way you can do that other than shut it down for 2 weeks. Shut the whole operation down for 2 weeks. So let everybody get quarantined and everybody comes back with negative tests and we can go on from there starting afresh. That's the only way you're going to do this thing. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That money train got to keep going.
Of course. And if the Ravens weren't able to quarantine the 8 guys that they have on the COVID list for 5 days, they wouldn't be able to play in Indianapolis on Sunday. Right. They would have to reschedule that game because eight players are on the COVID list. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of guys.
That's probably the most on any NFL team this year, right? No, Titans had 20. No,
23.
23 or 24. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But 8 defensive players.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you're asking them to play say Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, they have to quarantine for 5 straight days and come negative. Then they can play in Indianapolis. That's a lot to ask for.
It is.